Hello. I am Kayla, and I host this podcast. And the intention behind starting it is I'm trying to pay attention to what all the wise people before me have suggested, and that there's nuggets from my lived experience, which I wasn't actually born yesterday. Sometimes I get a little confused when it when it comes to taking care of myself, and I pretend like I was born yesterday, but the truth is I wasn't. And I do have lived experience, and I have things of value to share with the world. And I think a challenge for me, when it comes to feeling my most effective in podcast format, is I like dialogue. I really enjoy conversation with people. I enjoy conversation with multiple people. I love three-way conversations. And I love having parties. I love having multiple dynamics, multiple inputs coming my way. And I like to see what I can do with that vibe. So I like to curate vibes. And when I'm having a conversation by myself, it feels like something's missing because I'm just me. But one of the things I had been seeing, people of the internet do, is basically have a conversation with themselves, but themselves from different parts of their brain, maybe. So the last video that I recorded, I attempted to edit it, and apparently my laptop software, my knowledge, my storage space wasn't meant to be. I don't know exactly what to put it, but I tried to edit it 3 times, and every time I tried to edit it, the vast majority of the video would just like turn into this like weird, garbly, colorful rainbow thing where it was only my voice and the image was just a digital messy painting. I don't know what else to describe it as. So it doesn't exactly call to me to be a video editor. I don't really like that part. The part that I enjoy is, I guess, seeing where it goes. I've been learning a lot about myself. And one of the things that I've always known, but it got put into a different context for me, is that my empathetic nature comes from a lot of places, but it turns out a big part of it was just by virtue of when I entered this world. And so my ability to reflect the energy that is around me, my ability to feel what other people are feeling, I always just kind of blamed it on trauma and thinking that there wasn't really another way out, but I should have known better on that one, because it's not like I don't have siblings, and they're different, right? So it's not like tiny me decided like, oh, this is how I'm going to handle this. I guess it was just my nature, because we're not programmed to handle things some perfect way. I don't know where I'm heading with this thought, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a conversation with myself and kind of see what happens, and also just be real, be honest, and see how that feels, because I've been reading a lot, I've been paying attention, I've been trying to take good care of myself, been hydrating. Today I went to Walmart to buy some groceries, and just asked myself what would make this more fun, because I don't particularly I don't hate grocery shopping. I'm not someone who hates it by any means, but I don't particularly love it, and I had a lot of reasons in my head as to why that particular trip may not have been quite as glamorous as I had hoped, for a long list of reasons that aren't the point. And so I was like, well, if I had good music on and I just allowed myself permission to just dance and live in the moment and not give a flying fuck about what anyone else may or may not think, it was great. And so my people pleasing tendencies, I guess I'm figuring out ways to reframe that, because I don't think, as empathetic and reflective of the environment that I am, my people pleasing is going to just disappear. I think I have to channel it. I get to channel it. I get to work with it. I get to see that as a characteristic of mine and figure out how I want to put it to best use. So I was dancing around Walmart, and not like flash mob status or anything like over the top, but as I was making my decision in the freezer section, like feeling it, just kind of letting it be what it was. And I turned down a certain aisle, and at that point I didn't even like see that there were people around me anymore, because I was just in that zone, like in that, I guess, flow state that people talk about. And I looked up, or like turned, I picked my thing and I turned, and an employee was dancing, like looking at me dancing along, and it made me smile. Like, it made me feel good that the energy that I brought to the space was pleasurable to somebody else, right? And so the gifts that I would rather leave on the world are ones of, let's figure out who we are, let's own who we are, and then let's get to that space in the world where that works for us. I'm figuring it out. I don't have it figured out, but that's where I'm aiming. So anyway, I spent 3.5-ish weeks in Philadelphia, and I would say the physical environment that I was in was not Kayla's best self environment. And my empathetic, people-pleasy, reflectiveness, whatever, I am the environment that I am in, rather than me knowing exactly how to shape an environment to be the right one for me, if that makes sense. I think there's a lot of ownership that I feel capable of taking when a space is mine. Not a lot of ownership I feel capable of taking when it's being gifted to me. So anyway, as I was like, getting ready to send myself back into a space where I do feel like I have ownership, I wanted to be very grateful for certain aspects of what I was learning. And I've been deluding myself a little bit into thinking that all of my childhood trauma is just magically healed, when it's not. There's still very difficult conversation. Not all of it. I haven't deluded myself into thinking all of it. That's a little extreme, but I certainly have been saying that I'm someone who healed my relationship with my mom, and to her face, I was able to explain that. I'm like, we're choosing to be two adults who are renegotiating what it looks like to be two healthy adults together. And I have people in my life that role model all kinds of different versions of that. Like, some who are just straight up have zero fear around telling their mom to fuck off. Some people who completely just shrink back down into the tiny little them that they were when they were a kid. And then there's like my version, where on some things, like it became supernatural. It came to me supernaturally, to share with her, like, I don't see eye to eye on that. Like, I don't feel that same way. But when it comes to overstaying my welcome, I have this hang up of feeling unwelcome. And have to have a big conversation with her about it. And my subconscious was freaking the fuck out and didn't want to come back and have that conversation. And I would have loved to have had this podcast be like, and then here's the shiny, perfect, happy ending, but I haven't had it yet. I just got back yesterday, and I'm figuring out exactly what it is that I need and why I think I need it and where that's coming from, because I know that she asks a lot of questions, and that it's not unfair to ask those questions. It's not unfair for me to for her to want me to have answers to those questions. I want me to have answers to those questions, but it's all complicated, or at least I'm accepting it as complicated. See what I end up doing with that. Okay. I'm now back in a space that is mine, that I feel like I can cultivate, and I'm reconnecting with my mission and figuring out what that means for me and my next steps. And so, kind of how I started this, I feel like my ability to shine, my ability to put my gifts to work, put my gifts to their full potential, like really bring them into the light, it involves other people. Like, it's not something that I'm doing all by myself. So, 11 minutes in. Okay. What do you want to do? I want to inspire people. I want to show people true, authentic self-love and encourage, lay out. I have a lot of experience as a case manager and a project manager, and I know how I feel. I have all of the confidence in the world that I can get someone from their point A to their point B, and I've let external pieces of information hang me up on whether or not that's something that I'm ready to do, when I know that that's something I've always done, and it's always come very natural to me. I think the big life lesson I'm excited to navigate is setting boundaries so that I don't harm myself in the process. So you want to work with people. You know you're good at working with people. Working with people feels good to you. You've received feedback that you're good at it, but there's some sort of hang up. I'm not gonna lie, this feels silly. Yeah, I felt like I was ready. I felt like I was ready. And then I was told I wasn't. Do you think you're ready? Yes. And I struggle to say it with my chest because I worry that I'm missing something, that maybe I didn't learn the lessons I thought I learned, and I worry about imposter syndrome or something along those lines. In what ways might you be an imposter? I guess I've never marketed myself, like my own face, like putting it out there and sharing that with the world. And everyone says like, oh, If you are meant to be an entrepreneur, like, you just do it. Like, you just go out there, you just do it. And I let a couple people telling me I wasn't ready keep me from just doing it. So surely there's got to be some something in there. Like, I didn't have the courage to just do it. So what does that say? I think if I weren't me, and the more I'm doing this exercise, the more it's feeling like I'm just trying to have a conversation with somebody else. You feel ready, and you got kind of knocked down by other people thinking you weren't ready. At the end of the day, no one else is making financial decisions for you. No one else is paying your bills. No one else is going to take care of you. Like, it's all you. And so if you feel like you're ready, it's time to step into that. It's time to do it. Do you know what your first step would be? Well, the first steps were things that I was taking, and before I got derailed, I made it decently far. Like, registered my business name and got the website domain and started a social media for it and begun practicing what felt like the best, the most appropriate, there we go, message to be sending, and I started doing that. So the thing that keeps going through my mind now is, if you build it, they will come. And so I feel like I hosted one party, which wasn't exactly like, there were no expectations on it, I should say. And I hosted one weekend retreat, and it had amazing, like, outcome. I feel highly qualified to do what it is that I say I can do, which is help people achieve their goals, get from point A to point B. I like to help people. I've always been a helper. Feels good to me. I'm taking care of myself in all of the ways except for financially through my business. And so I would like to get that started. I would like to have customers. I'd like to have clients. Do you think there's anything missing for you for taking those next steps besides getting your confidence back? I've been craving mentorship, and the specific theme of mentorship that's kind of been coming up for me is finding someone who has been where I want to be and has done what I want to do. And there's this huge block. Okay, I'm going to stop conversating back and forth with myself and just try to be comfortable. Get my little kitty cat on my lap here. The block that I know for a fact deep in my bones that I am not alone with this. The block is the more community that we build together, human to human, the more support networks, the more that we're able to lean on each other, the more that's going to really piss off some oppressive structures. And holidays, for example, like, I was not feeling very cheery on Christmas. I did not feel like the happiest version of myself. I felt very sad, very depressed, very alone, kind of isolated. It was just heavy. It was heavy. And, capitalistic pressures say, buy gifts, be with family, feel good. Not that being with family and feeling good is like some bad thing. It's obviously not a bad thing. But the gifts and what gifts do, I don't know. It's all kind of crap. I really just had a lot of thoughts that did not actually need to translate into beliefs by any means at that point, and yet I let it. So That was on me. Live and you learn. Holding shame or regret or remorse about something I did or didn't do isn't helpful. So I'm releasing myself of that and looking at the bright side. I was with a loved one and we enjoyed food together, and we made a silly little dance video, and that felt good. So made that what I made that. And then New Year's Eve, bringing in the new year and like, you know, all this garbage, new year, new you, blah blah blah. I knew I wasn't going to just magically wake up and feel different. I knew that the only way I'm going to feel different is if I choose to feel different. And so in the morning, on New Year's Eve morning, I was like, the last thing I want to do is party. The last thing I want to do is go out and pretend like I'm having a good time. And then I got to meet some new folks who, again, I like having conversations with people. I like being around people. I like hearing their challenges and being helpful, being useful, being myself, which tends to be someone who likes to listen to what other people are going through and offer some compassion, offer guidance when appropriate, when they want it, when they're asking for that. Definitely been guilty of offering it when it was not wanted, and I've seen that not go well. But being myself, being open, having authentic conversation got me in the mood to have a good time, and I liked that. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, but there's this part of me that's like, no, you have to figure that out on your own. What? Rugged individualism is why I feel like I have to do it on my own, and that's not the case at all. That's not true. That's bullshit. So for my pendulum to have swung from like the most extreme codependency that I think is ever fucking imaginable in multiple relationships, multiple romantic and multiple friendship relationships of codependency, me as Captain Save-A-Ho. That was my whole identity for a really long time, is just being Captain Save-A-Ho. And now, pendulum swinging, I'm like, no, I'm gonna be on my own. I'm gonna be by myself. I'm gonna do things just because I want to do them. I'm not taking in other people's opinions. I'm all the way over here, right? And then, surprise, surprise, I felt super alone. I felt very lonely, and not necessarily in the moments when I was physically alone. So I value my alone time. Like right now, today has been glorious. Like I slept in, I did my morning routine, my yoga, worked up my heart rate, did a little lap around the block, did that grocery shopping, just really getting my needs prepared, making sure that I was in a good headspace. And I'm happy to report I didn't have any anxieties today. I didn't feel particularly down. I felt capable. I feel capable. I still feel capable. I was looking forward to creating this because I want people watching this to feel the love and the care that I have. I'm getting emotional, and that's okay. I have so much love to give, and I look forward to giving it in lots of ways. Over the summer, I ended up calling Suicide Hotline, and I said the thing that I need is human connection. I need to feel like I'm not alone. And of course, this person has their training, and I get it. I'm a social worker. That's my fucking background. Like HIPAA, if I say fuck HIPAA, I'm not saying everyone's like personal information should be out there all over the place. No, of course not. I think it comes from a good place. Creating more and more barriers between human beings, though, that's rugged individualism bullshit. That's keeping us separate, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. For one of my top values to be belonging, and for me to be working on feeling like I belong in places that I want to belong, that was hard. That was hard for me, in a very, very low point, to just be like, could you tell me about your dog? Can you tell me about a time you went through something hard? Can you at least tell me that you believe me, right? Like, offer me human connection right now. And it dead ended a lot with, sorry, due to my training, I can't, or I need to focus this on you, or I can't share this stuff about me. And I get it. I totally get it. During my master's program, I had one teacher, probably multiple teachers, but one in particular that I'm thinking of, that was like, yeah, you only self-disclose when it benefits the client. And totally, I completely agree with that. Your girl's been in a lot of therapy herself, and one of the most frustrating things that would happen, and it happened with all but one, and I was with her the longest, and if I were to return, she's who I would go back to. But it would get to a point over and over and over again in my therapy where they would almost start having a good time with me as if we were friends, as if we were hanging out. And so there would be disclosures about their own stuff. And I was like, dude, I know. I came into the space knowing I'm an empath. People want to share with me. People want to talk to me. People want to feel close and connected to me. And I am Captain Save-A-Ho. And so if you're over here telling me you have body image issues, I'm going to immediately start to offer, well, like, how can we look at this differently? How can you own the stuff that you do love about yourself, rather than dwelling on the things that, aren't perfect, or how big your belly is when you blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know why I got going on that. I don't remember why I got going on that. When I needed someone to offer me connection in a very human to human way, not problem to problem way, but human to human way, it wasn't an option. And I can't be alone in that. I can't. It's not possible. Too many people die by suicide too frequently. I mean, I'm pretty sure 2 people have died just since I started this recording, if I remember the statistics correctly. So me being someone who wants to offer connection and build spaces where people can come together and be their self, learn who, in a safe place to learn who they are and see how their goals could be achieved, and be held and loved when they're immediately irritated and they don't know why. I can hold that space. It's an irritating situation that you're going through. That's why you feel irritated. There's nothing more to it. Or someone being very, very angry, and they're like, I don't know why I'm so angry about this. Well, I could probably come up with a couple of reasons why you would be so angry about that. I'm scared of this, but I don't know why. Give me a couple of minutes of your time. I will tell you why. I can see it. I can feel it. When someone's open with me like that, I got you. I had like 2 minutes of confidence in myself over the summer, and then folks doubted me. And I let that win. And the advice I would give myself is, okay, you live and you learn, and now you move forward. And let's have that confidence in ourselves again. So the beauty of what I can offer is validation, empathy, and direction. It doesn't have to just stay there. It doesn't have to just be, here's probably why do any of these fit as to why you're, feeling frustrated, feeling angry, feeling sad, feeling hurt. All right, let's just wallow in it. No, that doesn't, I don't think anyone wants that, right? Usually the thing we want is to feel different, to feel better. And so let me use my gift of hearing and seeing and feeling what you're feeling. And let's go to the next step with it. So I know somewhere in the beginning of this too, I was talking about how I'm working on remembering that I have stuff to offer. So that is something that I have to offer. Other journeys I've been on throughout life is I was raised by a single mom. I grew up in a trailer park, double wide. We we had this slightly better than the single wide trailer park next door, but still rough enough where like there was the meth trailer blow up, right? So it's like, you know where you're at in the world when it comes to that stuff. So it was not the worst, not the best, not the kind where you own the land, right? Like there's my little section. Returning home when the streetlights come on, or playing between speed bumps. That was there. I have daddy issues. I'm fully, not fully aware of exactly how they are all playing out, but they're there for sure. I like words of affirmation. I like being validated. I have a praise kink. Let's see. I married my high school sweetheart. I think I've already said that in one of these recordings. Went from monogamous to polyamorous. I can talk all day about ethical non-monogamy and maybe where that might fit for you. I don't particularly see myself as some advocate for that transition. But I don't know, maybe that's me overlooking an area of opportunity because I do feel so confident with it. There was a day when I didn't even know what polyamory was. And then there was a day when I was like, that absolutely fits me. And then there was a day when I was like, and I'm starting a new job and I'm coming out immediately at this job by bringing in photos for my desk with me and all of my romantic partners. And when someone says, who is that and who is that? I'm answering, that's my husband, that's my boyfriend, that's my girlfriend. Like, these are the answers I'm giving because they're true. And the world didn't end. People were like, really? Tell me about that. Or cool. My favorite one was, I got to get me some of that too. So yeah, the world didn't end. I'm very, very interested in learning more about my BDSM journey. And I mentioned I've been craving mentorship, and so I've been reaching out. And I found someone who I think would be amazing. And then kind of the timing didn't feel right. And so we'll see where that goes. Yeah, I had very, very vanilla sex for like a long time. A very long time. And I've been freaky in my mind for as long as I can remember. In first grade, I was motivated to be line leader so that I could sit, cross your arms and, stretch your mouth and watch my male teacher watch his penis move in his pants. Like that got me so that was an actual motivator for me in life. When I turned, I want to say it was 13. When I turned 13 is when my mom said I could start shaving my legs, and I was so excited because I was like, cool, if I can shave my legs I can have sex. And it became like my mission. And I was scaring the shit out of boys in my middle school because I was just like, hi, do you want to be my boyfriend? And then immediately trying to, not like, I didn't do anything aggressive, but just like, hey, could be an option. And they're like, what even is that? So yeah, I married the person I lost my virginity to, which is it's kind of an odd one to look back on. And then 4 years, 5 years ago, whatever it was, embarking on my ethical non-monogamy and having new partners. I still don't have any sort of impressive body count or anything like that, but that's also not my goal. I like intimacy. I like conversation. I like getting to know each other. Even at a swingers club, even at a sex club, which is how I brought in the new year, naked on the dance floor, in a sex club. I like talking to people. I like getting to know them. I like feeling like there's a connection and feeling safe and feeling understood and feeling like my orgasm matters. So, I guess a couple things in there, right? If you have been afraid of success, I understand you. If you've been afraid of being too different or too weird, I understand you. If you're feeling lonely, you might enjoy time alone, and you might have friends, and you might long distance friends. I think that's a big one. But you don't have that person that you can just text and go to Target on a whim or make plans with each weekend. Not the same people necessarily, but you don't necessarily have that space to go. I feel you. I get you. And this would be my favorite. If someone were to say, "Hi, I'm interested in no longer being Captain Save-A-Ho. I want to work on some boundaries. I want to figure out what I do and do not like. Do you have any thoughts?" I do. I have so many thoughts. Let me know. Holler at me. Let's talk about it. Let's dig in. Let me be there for you, because it brings me joy. And the sooner that I'm feeling days like I'm feeling today, where my value on this earth is unrelated to what it is that other people have to say, that it's based on what I want and what I feel and what I need, I think the better for everybody. Because as soon as I can be reflecting that joy, like I did in Walmart today, out in the world, and the sooner that people know that they can approach me, they can have a conversation with me, that they can share their vulnerabilities and share their goals, and I can offer support and validation, and my gift of reminding you what's real, what's totally made up. So I was talking with a friend a couple days ago. Well, it might be weeks now. What is time? But I was like, you know how you don't have to actually vacuum, but that you created a life that requires vacuuming? Yeah, I'm fascinated with that. And then another conversation of, when's the last time that you needed to pee, but you didn't because of the environment around you? You were told that you couldn't pee or that it wasn't the right thing to do. I peed outside like 7 times when I was in Philadelphia, and it was fine every single time. Nothing frustrates me more than when a should-be public restroom is locked because, God forbid, someone sleep and feel safe in there at night. And come for me all you want. I've worked with enough people experiencing homelessness that I know as long as you approach kindly and you're fully aware of what's going on with their mental state, because it is possible to be on so many drugs that they kind of turn into a little bit of a zombie. But for the most part, even in those zombie states, if you approach with kindness and patience and understanding, it's going to be okay. We don't actually need to be locking people out of the ability to go to the bathroom. But anyway, one of the places I attempted to go into an actual bathroom and it was locked, and then I was angry, and so I peed behind it, which is probably a crime. That sucks. That totally sucks. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. The main point I wanted to make to myself is that, so what if I'm sharing my vulnerabilities and what some people might find a weakness, and referring to myself as Captain Save-A-Ho and no longer wanting to be a Captain Save-A-Ho in my personal life. But in my professional life, I am Captain Save-A-Ho and I love it. So hire this Captain Save a Hoe. Reach out. Don't let hire scare you away. I'm so much more open than I think some of those naysayers give me credit for. I know my boundaries. I know what I need, and I'll continue to learn. I'll continue to grow, and I'll continue to be in positions where I may not know, and then I'll figure it out, because that's what I do. I figure stuff out, and so do you. So, dare I say, if you've made it this far and you feel some sort of connection with me, it's mutual. I don't know who you are, but as I speak into this camera, and as I know that I'm going to be posting this online, it's not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence. It's because we're actually meant to know each other, to actually have conversation, to actually make some plans. So, I love you, and I will talk to you soon.